Well, Jeff,
We're trying to laugh our way through this.
I know. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had a funny conversation earlier, right? So, but yeah, welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you on the Unscripted arena, and thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thanks
You
for
know,
having
we've
me.
known each other for what, over 10 years now, maybe?
God,
10
it's
years?
been longer than that. You were at another company.
Yeah, at another company.
When I first met you.
In an industry we can't talk
Talk
about.
because we're restricted.
We're restricted.
The man's
handcuffed.
listening. This home office is listening.
Yeah. Like yours and mine. Maybe not so much yours.
Not so much mine, man. I'm a free bird.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into your business and whatnot. And
okay, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know how far back we want to go, but I've been in the
as far back as you want.
the financial industry for 28 years, believe it or not.
Wow.
And when I first got out of college, didn't know what I wanted to do, like a lot of people, and was fortunate enough to have a good family member refer me into a financial planning firm where he had known some of those guys, and they were kind of looking to grow their practice a little bit. And it was a father and son company or firm where we brought me in, interviewed me, in our industry, in the insurance and planning industry, they give you like an aptitude test.
Yeah.
And, I was nervous and everything else too, right? Coming right out of school. I think I was 24 or 5 at the time. And they give me this aptitude test, and I'm just looking at this thing, and I test poorly. I've always tested poorly in school. And so
somehow you made it through college.
Somehow, and I'm listening, or I'm taking this test, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so easy. This is the easiest test I've ever taken. And so I leave there, and then 3 days later, they're like, well, we kind of want you to come back. And I'm like, you kind of want me to come back? Or you want me to come back? Well, you didn't really do well on the test. And I'm like, it's an aptitude test. Like, how did I not do well? Like, how do you score this thing? And they're like, well, come in, we'll talk about it. And so, they were both great. There's a father son, like I mentioned, and both had played basketball, and I'd played basketball throughout community college and stuff. And so they were really interested in that. And I think part of their reasoning for bringing me on was because I played sports. And I wasn't obviously a D1 or D2 or D3 player, but I played and had that drive. Mm-hmm. And I think you can, if you've played sports and you're not at the top of your game, you're always striving to be there.
Right.
And so that was a big interest to them. And I didn't learn about that later until, like 10 or 15 years later, they told me that. And I was like, wow,
this is why we chose you.
It's kind of a little bit why we chose. And you had grit, you had determination. We saw that you wanted to, and I basically said, just give me a try. And if it doesn't work out, then, I'll go my merry way, and you guys can do your thing. And that was the origins of me getting into the financial industry. So I literally walked in the first day, and I didn't know what life insurance was. I didn't know what income protection, disability insurance was, and I didn't know any of those things. And I didn't really know how to balance a checkbook. Right. And I'm like, you guys want me to be a financial advisor? But in that industry, if you have good mentors, and I had the best mentors, they always were saying, well, just put the client first, always put the client first, always. Products will sell themselves. People will gravitate towards you. If you have that mentality, instead of a desperate mentality, you have I want to serve mentality.
Right.
And I had that already coming into it. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a basketball coach.
What kind of teacher?
Huh?
Basketball teacher? Or
I just wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And that would propel me into coaching. And I wanted to coach. And that was some of the things that I kind of deep down wanted to do for a service type of lifestyle, and the things that I kind of grew up with. And so this gave me the perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
I quickly realized I'm teaching people how to do planning, how to do insurance. I then step forward, have 2 great kids, both are boys, both are into basketball. So I got the best of both worlds from being in this industry. I got to be able to teach people on a daily basis, which I still continue to do. And then I got to coach my boys all the way through 8th, 9th grade, and then got to watch them play junior high and high school. So, and still have kind of a desire to get back into the coaching at some point in time.
I mean, you're probably going to have a lot of time on your hands pretty soon, right?
Well, I mean, not a ton of time. I think you're referring to the fact that we were required, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like after we can get through the earnout of the responsibility of that, I still have a passion for this. I still have a passion for, specifically income protection products, which is life insurance and disability insurance. And I think that the community is underserved, especially in the disability side of things.
Yeah. And that's your primary focus now.
Currently is our primary focus, has always been for the last 25 years. With the acquisition, the doors have opened into more life products, which everybody that's always worked with us as a firm has always said, why aren't you guys doing life insurance from a brokerage standpoint? And we've kind of always said, well, we have a target market, and that's disability insurance, and trying to get that out into the industry, in an industry that hasn't done a good job of that. Again, getting back to those teaching and education and trying to get out. I don't know how many presentations and trainings I've done, just getting people to understand what
it is and the
impact a disability insurance is. A lot of people say, like, well, is it for disabled people? I'm like, no, you're right. It's a terrible name. That's why we're trying to talk about it as income protection, because that's what that product does. It protects income. If you become sick or hurt and can't work for a long period of time, then checks are coming to you on a daily basis to help you keep your financial picture together. Right. So I've been doing that for many years. So that's been great. But yeah, it's the growth of our company. I would say over the last 20 years had been solely focused on us growing our firm. And then to the point where from specifically a disability distribution firm, at I think the point of our acquisition last March in 2023, we were the 5th largest independent disability insurance distribution company in the U.S.
Could you have imagined that after college?
No. I'm with gratitude and humbleness. I'm so thankful for the mentors, because I'm still I was business partners. So the father, son, the son and I became business partners and grew this company, this distribution company, from 2000 till today, until the acquisition. And as the acquisition came on, the new company, or we ought to say names of companies.
Yeah.
Simplicity Group acquired us, and we were touted by them because they have a life distribution, annuity distribution, and long-term care distribution. And they're like, we like what you're doing. Will you come be our disability insurance distribution arm? So over the last year, we've been building that out.
So it wasn't a merger; it was a straight acquisition.
Straight up acquisition.
Okay.
Yep. They acquired us, gave us stock in the company, gave us some money for the purchase, and then set up an earnout to kind of keep us incentivized for the next 5 years, which is great.
What motivated you to sell, knowing that you're the 5th out there? And then why not go for number 1?
That's a great question. And I'm actually talked with a few different employee benefit firms lately who are kind of mom and pops that, when I say mom and pops, they're kind of their own company within a large pool. Yeah. And what happens is your mature owners start to get to the point where they're maturing. Yeah. and the ability for younger partners to buy out older partners is not cost effective because it costs too much. Yeah. And so we kind of got into that situation where my business partner was 75%, I was 25%. To buy him out completely just financially didn't make sense based off of our EBITDA and where we were from the valuation. And he's 5 or 6 years older than I am. And I'm looking down the road going, you're done sooner than later. We've built the 5th largest independent distribution company in the United States. We have employees. What do? Do we just shut it down and like let all these employees that have been faithful to us for so long go find a new job? And that's something we definitely didn't want to do. And the opposite of that is we wanted to give them a future as to, doing something more than what they're doing now, having an opportunity to advance in something.
Yeah.
And Simplicity Group came in, and that was a lot of what they were talking about to us. We want you to kind of stay focused and do your thing, but here's an opportunity within the entire Simplicity Group, which is now over 1,000 employees, where they have, career advancement. And where we were at, not a lot of career advancement going to happen because we're a small 9-10 employee firm. So that's why.
So when did that realization happen?
I think it started happening more and more as we started getting suitors asking us to sit down with them and go through this process. We hired basically venture capital type of consultant to come in and evaluate us, put us out to market just to see what was out there. And we'd been hit up a couple times prior to that. And those just weren't good fits for us. And really, after going through 3 or 4 of the suitors, Simplicity Group was pretty much exactly what we wanted because they had the life annuity and LTC and didn't have the disability piece.
Right.
So we knew we could, if they wanted us to take that on that role, that was a good fit for us.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what would you say were the challenges of letting go?
Taking less income.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you. I mean,
but they acquire you. How are you getting less if they're paying you?
They give you a chunk of money, and you don't want to sit there and eat off that, right?
Right.
And so
that money's just gone. He's like, this is gone. Thank you. But then you're looking at
now I have a salary. Now I'm an employee. I've never been an employee.
Yeah, check into an office.
Yeah, but I've never had that. I've never had anybody looking over my shoulder. And they, to Simplicity Group's credit, they're very good about not doing that.
Yeah.
We're all on the same platform as far as, we all have our own expenses, but it falls onto our P&L until we have our earnout. So we're careful about what we spend, that sort of thing. And that's another thing. Like, we're careful about what we spend.
So no more trips to
or just
big conferences.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can do that, but now it's going against our P&L, which is kind of the interesting part of what an earnout does to you. But I guess not having as much liberty, to take Tony out for beers and other people out and do things and buy gifts and that sort of thing to kind of help. Or even one that I struggle with is not sponsoring golf tournaments and that sort of thing because
that was a big piece of
it was a piece of just kind of giving back to some of the advisors that work with us that don't take a commission from the products that we help them sell. So that's been kind of I wish I had more liberty to do that. But I would say all in all that there hasn't been a lot of downside.
Right.
I mean, I see it as the future being.
Well, you're taking care of your employees.
That's huge. That's super huge,
right? Especially they've been with you since day one.
Yeah,
some of them.
Yeah,
right?
And Simplicity Group has great benefits, which as well as I know. We've been doing our own benefits for years, right? I mean, this is the first time I've had dental insurance.
Wow.
And vision insurance.
But you'd be surprised once you go try and use that dental benefits, you'd be asking yourself, why are you paying for dental insurance?
I get it for free though. Now I've never had that. But I honestly, I had gotten on some of those plans before, and I'm like, why am I paying this premium versus just cutting the dentist a check and walking away? But yeah, you're right. Yeah, but it is nice.
Same with health insurance. Like I could have sworn I just paid a premium. Why am I seeing a bill here?
Yeah. Where's the cost benefit of this? It is different though. I've never had an employer pay for, our benefits, and and that's not for the total employee package, but they do that for the partners. And so when we were acquired, we became partners of Simplicity Group. And we all share the same stock class, which is great. They didn't do anything with that to kind of throw a wrench into the system. They said straight across, we're going to all be partners at the same level, which was also very attractive. But yeah, they've been good to us and kind of what kicked off your question about, growing my business. It's been, 28 years of grinding and changing and assimilating into what's happening. I think that our industry is changing quite a bit from the financial planning industry. I think there's less and less younger advisors selling insurance. I think that over the next probably 10 to 15 years, we're going to start seeing even less and less of that happening with the bigger insurance companies with kind of their own group of advisors is probably where we're going to still continue to see it. But outside of that,
but even the growth of that is slow.
From what I'm hearing in the industry, it's a lot slower. It's been slower over the last 5 years. Yeah. So like I mentioned, change and assimilating. So what we've recently done within the last 5 years is created a piece of our company called Planning Partners. And I don't even know if I've talked with you about this. You've touched on it a little bit. We've touched on it a little bit with you on some cases that you've worked on, but Planning Partners is basically set up to get into the RIA space and those wealth planners that know that their clients need insurance products, but they don't sell commissionable products. And so we come in and we help them set it up to where their clients may need something. The advisor then comes to us and says, my client needs this. And we go to the market and get it. And then we work with the client directly to get it done. And we hire W-2 employees to do that. So there's no commissions on the advisors that are working with those clients. And I think that's what makes the RIA space, even the fee-based only. And that's
your growth opportunity.
I think that's where the growth opportunity is in the next 10 to 15 years. I see that segment of our company going up quite a bit.
You know, the funny thing about these RIAs is they get gobbled up by the bigger firms at some point.
Some will.
And then they end up becoming what they escaped.
That could very well happen.
Right. I've been seeing a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's happening more, this is, I think, a generational and, I mean, when I got into the business in 97, I felt like the community within insurance and planners and CPAs was that insurance was kind of I don't want to be an insurance salesman.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a dirty word.
It was. It definitely was back then. And then I think as products developed in the insurance side and that I feel like more and more people were not as adverse to insurance, not as adverse to life insurance and long-term care. And I think that the industry did a good job of not making it taboo to sell it. It became not a risk protection as much as it became a benefit. And I think that's where we've tried to keep our verbiage when we're talking about insurance products is like, there's a risk and we want to mitigate that risk, but let's talk about the benefit of buying these policies.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. You go to Singapore, the verbiage is totally different.
Really?
With regards to these products. It's advertised like what it is, not for the name it is.
Okay.
But for what it does for you.
So that's it. It's the benefits.
Yes,
right?
the benefits. Right. Yeah. But out here, it's taboo almost to speak of it. It's
been like that for years. I think it's an ebb and flow. Though, as I was saying, in '97, it was like that, and then we got into the early 2000s, and things started to change. And then it became, let's give you these benefits. Let's give you these benefits. But then I look at all these larger insurance companies that have their own advisors, and there's less and less younger people getting into it. And I don't know if it's because of the insurance taboos out there again, but everybody wants to be.
It's not an easy business.
It's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially with all the tech around.
Yep.
But, people still need people.
And I think that's where, especially in the disability insurance side of things, you don't have anywhere right now where you can go online and just get it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of moving parts. People need to understand it. How does it work? Why does it work? How much does it cost? And how long is it going to benefit me?
Mm-hmm.
And you need somebody there to reassure them that this is something that's going to benefit you.
Yeah.
Down the road. It's the worst insurance to buy from a premium standpoint.
Uh-huh.
And I hope you never have to use it.
It's like car insurance.
It's like car insurance. It's like homeowners insurance. I had a shower leak, and I was like, man, do I turn this into my insurance? So I call my insurance person, and they're like, your deductibles are like $5,000. It's probably not going to cost that much to fix. Like, just put it on your credit card. I'm like, oh man, why do I have this?
Like,
why do I have? I know it's for the big stuff, but I want it for the little stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like that doesn't happen anymore. You can't just do it for the little stuff.
Well, now with the home insurance, there's places you can't even get it.
Oh yeah, especially if you're in a fire zone or
fire zone, flood,
earthquake.
Yeah,
it's like, who's going to insure that? Yeah, we just renewed ours, and it's more than I have two young male drivers.
Yeah. So are they going to college here?
One is at UW. He's starting his senior year.
Okay.
And the other one is trying to figure out what he wants to do. He's living in Hawaii right now. Rough life.
That's nice.
Yeah. He's got a play.
Heard you sold the company and then he decided he's going to go.
Yeah.
Is he going to the university out there?
He started out there, but then I think I think he might be like an alternative solution. Like, it took me 6.5 years to get through college.
Mm-hmm.
In the first year and a half, I really just was playing basketball and trying to get by. So I give him a couple more years, and he might want to go down that road. But for now, I'm just
what's he doing over there?
He's got a job and just hanging with his friends and kind of trying. He's only just turned 19 in May, so he's trying to figure out life. And
it's probably good that he's just kind of taking on like a gap year or so.
Yeah, that's kind of what I told him. I mean, I took 6 months to try to and worked and realized that I didn't want to swing a hammer my entire life, and not that that's a bad occupation to be in, but it's just something I had a vision of or where I wanted to be, and I had the determination to try to get there, and I think he'll probably get there. And if he doesn't, we can go down a whole nother episode of college versus non-college because I have my opinions, but
let's hear it. I was gonna bring up. Do you watch South Park? No, there's an episode on South Park where as soon as AI start coming out and you got accountants being replaced, all these white collar jobs being replaced. So on South Park, the new millionaires and billionaires are handymen.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got these handymen like, hey, I need my oven fixed. Like, sorry, man, I'm all booked up. It's like, I'll offer you a 6-pack. Sorry, this guy offered me 2 6-packs. It's like, you gotta see that episode.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I should try it.
Big shout out and a huge thank you to Zekin for making this happen. They have an amazing platform. Check out their website, zekin.com, zeacon.com.
So, like, to your son, right? It's like maybe there is a different path because the world looks different with AI.
It is different. There's probably an algorithm out there somewhere that could do my job right now. I do think the personality side of thing, it needs to be there. Mm-hmm. The gratitude of service and helping is gonna, I believe, beat AI in some of the service oriented side of businesses. But you talk to a journeyman lineman right now who's making $150,000 and he's only 3 years into it. I didn't make $150,000 until I was 10 years into financial
and no student debt.
Yep. Right. Yeah, that's big time. And I was talking with my buddy's nephew who's an electrician. He's like, the guys that I'm hiring for being an electrician coming out of being a journeyman, 6 figures.
Yeah.
There's so much demand right now for that type of work that it's a payday.
Yeah. So I get a buddy that And, years ago when he was looking at college, right, he goes, do I go the electrical engineer route or do I go the journeyman route? And he looked at it from the standpoint of that electrical engineer could be replaced someday, but there's nobody that can replace going to a home, going to a server, and simply plugging in a wire.
Right.
That's, right.
Yeah, I think it holds true for a lot of the trades right now. That
and he became a general foreman, making 260, 300.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought that would be the payout for those guys?
And works 8-hour days.
Yep. And doesn't take it home with him.
Doesn't take it home with them.
Yeah. That would be nice.
So, so there is value in that. And
there's a ton of value in it, and I try to instill that into both my kids too. I'm like, my oldest is more book and could do that kind of stuff, and my youngest was more like, I just want to get my hands on it and figure it out. And there's a little bit of cross pollination between both of that for them both, but first and foremost, they're great kids, right?
Yeah.
And so you're like, however we can do to support what you want to do, which I think in the generation before us, maybe my parents weren't as hands-on. And it might be to their detriment, to our kids' detriment,
right,
or too involved. But even just being able to have a little bit of guidance to say, my mom did a really good job of saying, you're personal, you're kind, you're a good person, you're going to make it in something. She also said I was tall and good looking, but that hasn't worked out for me. But it was like, you can do this. Yeah. And then we're doing those same things, right? You're kind, you're a good person, you're service oriented person. Like, let's get you in the right direction. And him taking a year off from going to a college, or maybe not ever going there, I'm fine with that. It took some resolve to mentally do that, because we grew up. You got to go to college. Go to college.
Yeah,
got to go to college.
It's hammered into you.
They're in high school. They're being taught how to go to college. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. It's like, how about there's somebody that at that high school that says, because I took like welding and hands-on stuff when I was in high school. That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the high school that my kids went to, which is all get them going to college, and that's just not a fit. I mean, what I would love to see? This is me on my soapbox for 2 seconds. I would love to see the University of Washington have a trade school.
So to that, right? There is a program like that in Washington State.
In the state of Washington,
where companies like Alaska Air, Microsoft, have their own vocational school. Yeah, but it's not advertised as much. Yeah, I know that because we had a guy here on the podcast who created that program for Washington State. That's awesome, and he's done that for other places in the country, and he was also in charge of the apprenticeship development program for the federal government.
Wow. That's great.
But because you have college as an industry, guess what gets promoted, right? You got to feed the beast.
You got to feed the beast. I love that there is that place.
It's just not talked about.
Not talked about enough. But hear me on this. I want those same kids to go have that college experience, but in a trade school, so they can be in a dorm with all the guys going to engineering and going into the software and going into all these things. They're all in the same dorm. Yep. But one's going to trade school, the other guy's going to mathematics.
That makes sense.
Because I would have loved my kid to go have that experience as a kid that didn't really want.
Instead of English literature, you go take a wiring class.
Take your
as part of your curriculum.
Electrician 101. Yeah. In the universities. That's what I would like to ideally see over time, because I think you have those kids that have to make a decision at 18, right? Yeah. Do you remember being 18? Well, yeah. I wasn't thinking about college. I can tell you that. It was like you're forced to make a decision, and if everybody could go into the university at the same level, and then maybe after 6 months to a year, you decide
this is the path
they want to go. Yeah. Or right up front. Don't even make them sweat through English 101 and math 101.
Yeah, it's a lot of waste.
It's a lot of waste
wasting
for
people's
somebody
time.
that just wants to go work on cars or go work on
Yeah.
plumbing or electricity or whatever it might be, and all the branches that come off of all of those.
And college is supposed to help you get ahead, right? But they put you
and
through
make it
this-
affordable.
Yeah.
These kids shouldn't be coming out of school with that much debt.
Yeah, but it's a system.
It's the system.
It's a system.
Yep. I'm surprised, like, seeing how much sponsorships are going into the universities from big corporations.
Oh yeah.
And yet it's still costing thousands and thousands of dollars.
I mean,
for these kids to go to school.
some of those endowments are ridiculous.
Why isn't that? I guess it is somewhat being given to some of the students through scholarships, but
Yeah.
it just seems like, yeah, I don't know. But that's kind of my take on college versus universities.
Yeah. And your kids never wanted to play ball in college?
No.
Yeah.
I wish, but
And they were part of like select teams.
they were
growing up.
Yeah.
Did you feel that was a waste as a parent?
No,
No.
because it's all about team. For me, it was about teamwork and being on a team and, working through problems and solutions. And
Yeah.
that's how I look at athletics for young kids. It's trying to figure out how to be part of something.
Yeah. And you had a flexible schedule so you could partake in all that.
Yeah, no, that's why I got into the industry. That was
Yeah.
one of the things that somebody said to me. One of the mentors that hired me on was like, "This is what you make it,
Uh-huh.
and if you make it, and you'll have time to go do what you want to do. You'll have time to take vacations that you want to take. You'll have time to go spend time with your kids." And
Mhm.
and I've seen a lot of the people that are in the industry that grind, and then they get to a spot and they go, "Aha, oh, okay, I don't have to work 5 days a week. I can
Yeah.
work 4 days a week and go to my kids' games.
Yeah, you can
and
see your kids grow up.
see your kids grow up."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one blessing that I got to do. I would have a lot of time with my kids, which was
Yeah.
awesome. Very,
go-
very grateful.
Yeah. No, it's a blessing to be in the business. And going back to your point, one of my first jobs out of college was as a consultant and auditor. Right.
That
And
sounds like fun. Auditing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I was auditing and consulting on large scale
Okay,
construction projects.
that's cool.
So I know what a carpenter makes. I know what a laborer makes. I remember sitting there. I'm like, I have an advanced degree, and these guys are making more than me.
Wow.
And there's like very close to like, I should go in the union.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was early on. I'm like, why did I go to college?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in our industry, you kind of want to have that behind your name because it gives you cred. And then, getting into a CFP or
But even the cred, right? You get guys that you meet, no college, but they're running an amazing business.
yeah.
And again, you go back to like, why did I go to college?
I mean, you don't have to convince me on this stuff because I believe in it. I know guys that didn't go to college and make more money than I've made.
Yeah.
And they've done a really good job doing that. It's just, it's fortitude, it's determination, it's drive, it's goal orientation. It's things that you can learn outside of college.
Uh-huh.
Especially if you have a good mentor or you have you read or you take some just normal, like go to normal, like a class or, anything to inspire or make yourself better. But if you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotten. And that's one of the things that I learned from somebody that was doing consulting for us. It's like, even to this day, I mean, I could have looked at this acquisition and said, you know what, I'm done, wash my hands of it and sit back and be on the gravy train. But I'm like, I'm learning stuff that's like mind blowing to me from products that I haven't had to work with in the past. And now I have a vision of how to bring that in full circle and really meet clients and advisors, actually more so with advisors, meaning the advisors where their clients are in the intersection of accumulation and protection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that to me is super inspiring. And it gives me that I want to keep going and find out more and learn more and do more, which I guess that's part of just like wanting to always get better
Uh-huh.
at the sport that you're in.
It goes back to just being an athlete.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just intuitively, I think that, and probably subconsciously, that's where it comes from, and you get me on the pickleball court, dude, and I want to win. Like,
I've yet to try pickleball.
Dude, I played yesterday, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Only doubles. I'm too old for singles.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to try it out one day.
You should. Before it becomes a non-fad.
Yeah. Right now it's the in thing.
It's the in thing to do, man.
I guess why didn't you take up coaching? Like with this opportunity.
Right? Yeah, I was really doing it. I was doing it for my kids.
Okay.
I guess to somewhat satisfy that desire I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it kind of did satisfy that desire.
Okay.
I was just talking with my wife because my wife played basketball too.
Mm-hmm.
And she's actually a better player than I was. And she also has coached as well. I mean, literally, she helped coach all of my teams. Even though I had an assistant coach, there was always, she's like, why are you?
She was the person on the.
Yeah, why are you running that full press like that? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you got to do a different one, man. I'm like, okay, tell me what I got to do. But I think both of us have kind of thought, we're at a stage now where we're slowly becoming empty nesters and having more flexibility in schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think she'd rather travel the whole time and do that. But if we can fit around a way to give back to the community through coaching, I think we both have talked a little bit about that. And I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. What would you coach? Basketball?
Oh, that's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I did.
No pickleball? Coach pickleball?
I'm not coaching anybody in pickleball. You have to come watch me. I'm still learning in that sport, though. I mean, it's funny because I'll make a good shot and my buddy will be like, "Did you see that on Instagram?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah." That's how we look. That's how I'm coached. I'm coached on Instagram, watching reels,
YouTube. So I guess bringing it all in, right? Of all the business owners that you've come across, what would you say are the 5 common things they have that have propelled them to success?
Wow, 5?
5. Or 10 if you got it.
No, we're not going that deep. I think most of the ones that I know that have been successful have had an entrepreneurial perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They saw so that entrepreneurship, a vision for sure. I think most of the ones that I know that I'm thinking off right off the top of my head have been athletes and haven't been at the top of their game, but have always been striving to get there. So drive. I'd say most of those people that I know have a service-oriented disposition within themselves that they want to serve people. And then I'd probably say out of the 5th, and these aren't in any category or arranged in any way, but most of the people that I know that have been successful in their own business are just flat out good people, right? They're not out to take advantage of something or somebody. They have something that they want to deliver and they deliver it. But I think drive is a big one. Having the service mindset is probably I'd say out of 5 of those are the 2 ones that I see that people, because if you have a service mentality, that's deeper than anything you've ever learned.
Yeah, because that'll get you through. It allows you to make anything happen for that person you're serving. Right.
Yep. Yeah, that's anybody takes away anything from anything I've said is I feel like service is something that it's innate, and if you don't have it, you can find it. Because I believe that everybody's on this earth for that purpose to some degree. And it's just a matter of how you arrange it. It could be the fact that you do community service, you help at your church, you help at your fixing the playgrounds, food lifeline, any of those types of places where you're actually giving back something. Or you can take that and put it into a business model and recreate it the same way to where the end result's the same. People are being served. So that's kind of service and drive, I think, are the 2 most
I agree.
influential. Yeah.
Especially the drive too.
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, you don't give up at the first sign of trouble,
That's right.
right?
You can't, because if you do, you're
'Cause
done.
you're gonna let people down.
Yeah,
People that you're serving.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Yep. You got to be able to get up in the morning, do the things that you got to do, and then get to what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And again, everybody always talks about like, oh, you got to have a job that you love, and that's, it's kind of true.
Mm-hmm.
If it falls within your service model, I think that you will have a drive to do that. So it's not awe-inspiring, but it is. I think you've seen me over the years. I'm not, I'm not a super salesman. I'm not a.
No. You've always served for as long as I've known you, and which is why we're still here. We're here today,
right?
Yeah.
And I think it'll last for a long time. I mean, the industry that we're in, from a financial services standpoint, services in the title, it's like that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel good about it. That's the other thing. All those business owners, they wake up, they feel good about themselves.
Yeah,
because they're doing something that's right.
and something good for the people.
Something good's happening from it.
Yeah,
and a lot of those guys give back too.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things we always did was give back to the community in some certain way. Right?
Yeah. Because especially like you talked about golf tournaments, right?
Right.
Almost all the golf tournaments that are sponsored by big companies, there's a certain aspect of giving back.
For sure. Yeah. Most of them are set up as a charity event, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that money's going somewhere to somebody or some organization that's doing good for others, right? I don't usually play in a golf tournament. Just
you don't play? You just
I do play in them, but I don't just play in anything, right? It's got to have if I'm going to put money towards it, it's got to have an end result that's happening good for somebody or something.
Yeah.
And most of the ones that are out there are doing that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right.
So, how's your golf game?
It's terrible. I just played one last Friday for another charity event, and you remember last Friday it was pouring down rain.
Yeah.
It was so miserable. We had so much fun because I've had a good group of guys, but it was awful. We came back soaking wet all the way down to the bare bone. It was wet. Yeah. So that was the first time I played in a while. So I don't know how good my golf game is.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I'll get a couple rounds in before it starts to rain again.
Right. Go today. I got invited to go golf today.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But well, hey, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, I appreciate
really
it.
appreciate you sharing your story and a little information on the industry.
Yeah, keep doing your good work.
We'll see what gets past compliance.
Home office. All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Cool.